Welcome to another episode of Behind the Data with me, Alastair Hope, where for the next couple of minutes I'll just be taking you through some of the movements that we've seen in gas and power prices over the last month. So starting with gas, you can see on the graph that this month we've seen gains of around about 8%. It looked initially as though prices were going to start coming off from these highs as fundamentals were just starting to look quite bearish. However, last Thursday, Russia invaded Ukraine, and that sent gas prices surging upwards quite quickly. The reason prices reacted to this quite dire news is that Russia are responsible for sending quite a lot of gas into Europe, and with any physical conflict comes the risk of damage to gas infrastructure or pipelines, which would then limit and reduce that flow coming out of Russia into Europe. But there's also the possibility of sanctions being placed on Russia, limiting the amount of energy that can be bought from Russia directly. Moving on to power, you can see on the graph here that where gas goes, power goes, and power made similar gains of around about 6% over the course of the month. Due to the large gas to power need in the UK, if gas prices move up, then power prices need to follow due to the spark spread. At the front, though, we've seen a very strong wind generation, which has taken the pressure off and enabled prompt prices and day-ahead prices to outturn slightly lower than where those contracts were trading initially at the end of last year. Moving on to carbon, you can see in the graph here that carbon has actually moved in a different direction to many of the commodities, given the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It looks as though carbon has been following equities, and over the course of the month has lost 2% and avoided moving up in a similar way to some of your other commodities like gas and power and oil. So moving on to oil, as you can see on the graph here, gains of 23% over the course of the last month. The fear here once again is that sanctions were placed on Russia, or Russia stop exporting oil. Any sort of conflict or war tends to increase the demand for oil, but certainly some countries may be inclined to turn down Russian oil, making the supply picture just a lot tighter, and hence that has encouraged quite a bit of buying over the course of the last month and helped oil prices move upwards. So obviously rather a busy, traumatic month with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It hasn't helped gas or power prices in the UK. It looked as though gas storages through Europe were going to be moving back in line with 5-year averages, and prices just looked like they were going to come off, but unfortunately that has not been the case. This still leaves quite considerable concern and anxiety for a lot of UK businesses, I'm sure. So if there are questions that you have, please do get in touch with your account manager, and we'll do our best to answer those questions for you. I hope you found this update informative, and I do look forward to speaking to you again next time. Thank you very much.